that those on the government benches have a duty not just to safeguard children in their own political parties, but also children nationally. There's a history of failing to protect children as a state, the horrific legacy of industrial schools, mother and baby homes, and abuse by religious orders in schools. And the government continues to fail in that duty. There are huge staff shortages in Tusla, which mean that at-risk children are continuing to be failed by the state. A HICWA report published a few months ago found that children's care services did not have sufficient staff numbers to provide adequate services to vulnerable young people. It said Tusla has insufficient numbers of appropriately qualified, skilled and experienced staff to provide consistent and timely services to some children. It continued, a significant number of children waiting to access the right service at the right time, and some children were placed in services that were not appropriate to their assessed needs. Meanwhile, earlier this year, a High Court judge warned that nothing is being done about the crisis in our care system and there being a tsunami of cases. But one thing was done by this government. The project that was highlighting these cases and the wholesale failure by government in this area, the Child Law Project, has been shut down. Shamefully, at a time when the government has more money than it knows what to do with, it couldn't find the relative pittance required to fund this project. Earlier this year, the Child Laws Project's latest and now final report described a care system that was utterly dysfunctional and totally overwhelmed. It stated that multiple judges were in despair of the system of care for children in Ireland. Remember, these are some of the country's most vulnerable and traumatised citizens who desperately need the protection and the support of the state. But they are being ignored or abandoned by a system that is completely inadequate and on occasion dangerous. This is what the Child Law Project consistently highlighted since it was established in the teeth of the worst ever recession in 2012. We could afford it back then, but apparently there is no money for it now. Last Cairns, I have to say, I think it is shameful and disgraceful. Withdrawing funding has all the appearances of the government seeking to shoot the messenger rather than deal with the issue that they are communicating. And I would urge the Minister to reverse this decision today, because there is a crisis in the care system. Things are so bad that the Children's Residential and Aftercare Voluntary Association have called on the government to conduct an independent review of the children's care system. According to them, and they all work in this area, Tusla and the government are failing to uphold their statutory duty to children and to young people in care. These are the sentiments that have been echoed by the Ombudsman for Children, Paul Muldoon, as recently as a few months ago. Mr Muldoon is quite clear that the state is failing to meet its commitments and obligations to children with disabilities and in-state care, as well as not providing all the school places required.